New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew joins me now to talk more about this. He's one of 41 members of Congress that signed on to a letter demanding answers from DirecTV. Sir, it's good to have you on tonight. It seems self-indulgent for us to talk about this at the top of the show, but this affects everybody that watches this network. It affects everybody in this country because this is a perversion of free speech. This is an assault on freedom of the press. This is what it looks like. This is how they box out free speech in this country and freedom of political belief. I just want to get your thoughts.
No question about it. And it's not self-indulgent because the bottom line is what this country is about is freedom of ideas, freedom of vision, freedom of discussion, freedom of speech. And I would be angry if they were strictly doing that to a liberal group of people or a liberal magazine or a liberal newspaper or anybody that represented one side or the other. The point is we should be able to have our viewpoints and they should be able to be expressed. In this particular case, it's real obvious something's wrong because there are stations that are on DirecTV that don't do as well as you. There are stations that are on DirecTV that don't, bring in the dollars or bring in the viewers, yet they're okay, and they're going to leave them on. It's obvious they want to remove conservative voices wherever they can, whenever they can. And quite frankly, I think this really deserves an investigation in Congress. I think that we should look into this. There should be hearings because we're not going to have any conservative voices left because they're doing everything they can to stop them.
Yeah, and they really just want to prevent, this network from joining basically what is a club of networks that are allowed into all the cable homes that can get to that. I think it's like 70, 80 million cable homes, which we were well on our way to. This is preventing that from happening. How do we get an investigation from Congress? What does that require at this point?
Well, it requires some Congress people to really demand that it happened or to speak to the chairman of that particular committee. I'm on the Judiciary Committee, and I'm certainly going to speak to Jim Jordan about it. I value him a lot, and I like working side by side with him and look forward to that. So that's one of the ways that you do it. And I think you, just like you always say to everybody, contact your congressman, let them know what's going on. It's really important for conservatives because we want our voices heard, and our voices should be heard. Everybody's voice should be heard. But this is just so wrong and really so perverted and so contrary to everything that America, this great country, is about.
You were a Democrat turned Republican. I mean, you've been on both sides of the aisle, which is why I was so excited to talk to you about this tonight. What happened in the last? I mean, this is not, this is no longer the United States. I mean, there is a visible assault on conservative speech in this country. It's almost as if they're trying to phase out opposing viewpoints. And how did massive corporations in this country become so tethered to the federal government and obviously to the Democrat Party? This is all new. This is all in the last 6-7 years. Most people watching this show, this is not the America that they were raised in at all.
No. Literally, we've weaponized our federal agencies. Corporations have, so many of them become woke now. So many of them don't allow the freedoms they used to. So many of them don't represent good American corporations. It is frightening. A lot has happened. And I will tell you, I'm not a conspiracy guy, and I don't see conspiracies behind every door. I don't. But I think that there are very powerful, very wealthy individuals all around the world and in the United States. George Soros is the one that we always hear about. He's not the only one who want to change America's fabric, that want to change it forever. Freedom of speech is one of the most important parts of that, where you can discuss anything, hear anything, exchange ideas on anything. It's so disappointing. And I'm with you. It's almost hard to believe that this has happened. I mean, what did happen in the last 5 years? I mean, and even more so in the last few years. What's happened to our kids' education? What's happened to our borders? What's happened to our, police? What's happened to our military? It's everything. We are really, I always say, we are on the precipice. We're on the edge. and we have to do everything we can and fight as hard as we can to bring us back.
We're a devolving country, culturally and politically, in so many different ways. It's a really, really scary time. Congressman, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. I hope that you will fight with us to get some accountability in this situation, because again, it's fairly overt what's happening here, and we appreciate you coming on.
I will always fight for freedom and freedom of speech.
Most important thing we got. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Newsmax is